Hi everyone, how are you doing? Well, have you ever seen one of those psychic shows and wondered what goes on behind the scenes? And what it's like, even more so, to be one of those people who is picked out of the audience? Well, myself and my best friend had this happen to us on Australia's Channel 7 on their reality show The One, a programme that sets out to find Australia's best psychic. For this game we had to place an object of ours on a table before any psychics or mediums were in the room. When they came into the room they had to pick up our object and talk about it and then guess who the owner was by picking them out of the audience. Well, this happened to me. And Shé D'Montford, a pagan witch, picked out my object. Here's what happened.
Sorry, just come back to the real world.
Welcome back.
Hi. Psychometry is the ability to be able to touch something and tell people things that are not immediately apparent. This person has reached the point in their life where they're going, what's the point? You know, what now? Is there a point? And the message that I have for this person is that there really and truly is a point. That this person is a gifted healer. If they don't already know it, they should be pursuing that field themselves. This is your time. They can do so much.
What have you got in your hand?
Gentleman's comb.
With the owner of the comb, please stand up. Right. Very interesting.
So I was actually talking to you. I was standing here talking to you. I should have gone with that.
You were looking at me as
I
you were
was,
talking
sir.
earlier. But for me, I didn't feel the reading really referred to my life as such.
Yeah.
Okay? In some ways I've become more sceptical. The only thing I do wonder about is, of course, recognising people from the audience with the objects, identifying them. I do find that quite amazing.
Next up is Amanda. How are you feeling?
Okay, let's take a look at it bit by bit. Now, Shé D'Montford says that I have reached a point in my life where I'm wondering, what is the point? Well, how many of us have reached that point? Probably most of us, perhaps all of us. How often have we asked, what am I doing here? What's the point? Why should I care? Very, very generalised. Definitely not specific. Very generalised. Even if true, I would like something more specific.
The message that I have for this person is that there really and truly is a point. That this person is a gifted healer. If they don't already know it, they should be pursuing that field themselves. This is your time. They can do so much.
What have you got in your hand?
Gentleman's comb.
With the owner of the comb, please stand up. Right.
Okay, Shé tells us that this person who owns the object is a gifted healer. Well, what does that mean? Does this mean the person can cure cancer? Or does it mean by giving somebody a hug or holding their hand, they can cheer them up? Surely these are all forms of healing and something we're all capable of. So again, a very, very broad and generalised statement that tells me everything and tells me nothing. In fact, it's a statement that is very bland. Now let's take a look at the object. This is the infamous object in question. And what's more, somebody who owns a comb, as I do here, it's a bit of an old comb, but I did wash it before the show, just in case. Anybody who owns a comb clearly and keeps it on them and puts it as an object to be looked at is obviously somebody who cares about their appearance, who obviously uses their hand. So that's a little bit of a giveaway as well, that the person is holding a comb, and whoever owns that comb obviously is creative or uses their hands for something or cares about their appearance. So it's somebody who obviously designs their hair or whatever. So we've got somebody who uses their hands, hence the healing hands. And as I say, a very broad and bland statement. Something that tells me everything and tells me nothing. Let's take a look at my reaction to her.
Gentleman's comb.
With the owner of the comb, please stand up. Right. Very interesting.
So I was actually talking to you. I was standing here talking to you. I should have gone with that.
You were looking at me as
I
you were
was,
talking
sir.
earlier. But for me, I didn't feel the reading really referred to my life as such.
Yeah.
Okay? In some ways I've become more sceptical. The only thing I do wonder about is, of course, recognising people from the audience with the objects, identifying them. I do find that quite amazing.
Next up is Amanda.
You may have noticed I said I could see her looking at me. Yes, I could. Interesting. Look at the shape of the comb. Almost everybody had some item of jewellery or a keyring or something like that. Now, if they had to clasp their hands. Now, a comb like this obviously means you've got to clasp your hands lengthways. So I was actually looking at her thinking, I wonder if it's me whose object she's got. It must be my object, so I'm going to be looking anyway, and this recognition would no doubt make her look at me. You know, whether they know it or not, a lot of people, they are very sensitive and they can look at people's reactions to know what's going on, and no doubt she probably saw something coming from me, quite possibly, that gave her an idea that it may have been mine. Now, I do say, thankfully, because this is how I generally felt after the reading, that if anything I was more sceptical, but I was amazed and very impressed about how people were picked out of the audience and their objects, etc. And yes, when people do it successfully, I am. That doesn't mean I necessarily believe they are psychics or mediums or have that genuine ability, but I do think it is a very impressive skill to have. Okay, so as many of you may know, these shows are recorded. They're not always live. So what wasn't shown? Well, Shé D'Montford also said whoever owns this comb is also a keen drinker, drinks rum in particular, and also loves fast cars. A couple of things there. I've never drunk a drop in my life. I've been a lifelong teetotaler. And secondly, I've never had a lesson to drive in my life, and certainly have no interest in cars. Do I know big drinkers? I know many. Do I know people who love fast cars? I know many, many, many. And don't we all? But this person here, i.e. me, does not drink and never has, and has never driven a car in his life, let alone had a lesson. So what do I make of the reading? Well, it definitely didn't work for me. Sadly, it was way out. And if this is any idea of whether a psychic or a medium is genuine, it certainly did not give me that idea. If anything, it made me more sceptical, as shown there. What you did see in the actual clip was very generalised, sadly very bland, and very broad. You know, what is a healer? What does she mean by healers? So I certainly was not convinced at all. Very broad and very, very generalised.